Three, two, one, zero. Ignition.
Hello, the listener. Welcome to universalexports.co, where we cover everything including motoring, walking, eating, drinking, astronomy, photography and film, science, and much, much more. Stay tuned for the Plat du Jour. We'll see what's on today's plate. Coming up now.
You are now tuned to...
You certainly are. Looking at what we've got for you today. How to use 6 trillion cigarette butts effectively. Tethering a UAV to the US president. Walking the desal plant. And look what they've done to my jeans, Ma. That Tawny Frogmouth from a previous podcast, the road reel results, and coming up to a planet near you, the asteroid Earth crash update. While the US President Donald Trump was golfing this month, a tethered drone was watching over him. A press release from the US Department of Homeland Security describes the drone as a tethered small unmanned aircraft system and says, "The proof of concept is operated using a microfilament tether that provides power to the aircraft and the secure video from the aircraft to the operator control unit." Information provided by the DHS to meet privacy requirements says that the tethered drone is programmed to autonomously fly 300 to 400 feet AGL, above ground level, and uses an electro-optical infrared camera controlled by an operator. The camera transmits video images through the tether back to the operator using an encrypted feed. Electric power for the drone's motors passes up the tether, giving the drone a longer flight time than battery-powered drones. Sci-Fi, the US manufacturer, and that Sci-Fi is spelled C-Y-P-H-Y, American spelling, of course, says its drone is capable of flying for days, resistant to wind, precipitation and debris, and incapable of drifting and doing flyaways. The DHS issued a somewhat restrained description of the prototype drone surveillance capability. Though unlikely due to the altitude at which the tethered UAS will operate and the quality of the video obtained, the data and images collected or retained may be clear enough to help investigators identify an individual when used in conjunction with other data, it said. Tethered drones were used to monitor the Boston Marathon this year. That was the event that was bombed in 2013, killing 3 people. Yes, that is the sound of a car speeding off. It's speeding off on asphalt. And that leads us right into our next item in what to do with 1.2 million tonnes of butt litter. Butt litter from cigarette butts. Great idea. Don't know how this one will work. The 6 trillion cigarette butts produced every year generate over 1.2 million tonnes of butt litter. They're a toxic waste and most of it ends up in the environment. Thankfully, the RMIT, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology in Australia, have found a new way to seal them up inside roads and paths. The researchers last year crammed old butts inside bricks and have advanced this idea. Not only is that an effective way to keep them from leaching their toxic chemicals into the environment, but they actually make for better bricks. Half the amount of energy needed by adding butts to fire the bricks also improves the insulation properties as well. The researchers have gone on to investigate how asphalt might also benefit from this process. First, they retain the butts in bitumen and paraffin wax, which encapsulates the deadly chemicals inside, preventing them from reaching into the asphalt and, in the end, the environment. Then, the encapsulated butts are added to hot asphalt mix. This research shows that you can create a new construction material while ridding the environment of a huge waste problem. Cigarette filters are designed to trap hundreds of toxic chemicals, and the only ways to control these chemicals are either by effective encapsulation for the production of lightweight aggregates or by incorporation in fired clay bricks. Where do I apply to get the job of picking up the discarded cigarette butts in the first place? As an astute listener to this show, You will have noticed that I did use the term asphalt, not asphalt. One of my little peeves that I hear a lot of seemingly educated people use, it's asphalt. We were fortunate enough earlier this week to get to have a walk around the Diesel plant down in Adelaide in the Bass Coast of Victoria. What a fantastic area it was, and the sound you just heard is the only sound that you can hear when you're anywhere near the whole installation. The Victorian Desalination Plant is a water desalination plant in Dayleston on the Bass Coast of southern Victoria, Australia. The desalination plant is the largest addition to Melbourne's water system since the Thomson River Dam was completed in 1983. When the facility was completed in December 2012, Melbourne's reservoirs at that stage were 81%. The plant was immediately put into standby mode. The plant was originally set up because our supplies, just before the decision to go ahead, was down to less than 21%. Only about 6 weeks, I think. 6 weeks left of water supplies for Melbourne. The first water from the desalination plant was released for public use in March 27 via the Cardinia Reservoir. The capital cost of the project was initially estimated to be $2.9 billion in the initial feasibility study. This was later revised to $3.1 billion, then to $3.5 billion. After the winning bidder was announced, it was revised to $4 billion. Operating costs are to be charged by a private firm over the next 25 to 30 year period and are estimated to be around $1.5 billion. The cost includes labour, replacement of membranes, chemicals cost and energy, and it was initially estimated at $132 million per annum. Unlike previous water infrastructure works in Melbourne, the plant will be built and operated as a public-private partnership. It's situated about 140 k's southeast of Melbourne. The Victorian Desalination Plant and Ecological Reserve is a fascinating mix of architectural and engineering ingenuity and natural beauty. Included in the reserve are 8 kilometres of trails for pedestrians, cyclists and horse riders. There's a bird hide, there are viewing decks and boardwalks and picnic shelters. We use most of them on our walk around there. The key features of the Ecological Reserve are trails. There are 8 kilometres of horse riding, cycling and pedestrian trails within the reserve. A little bit windy when we were down there. The walking and cycling trails include a number of vantage points and viewing decks from which visitors can get a good view of the desalination plant, the buildings and its green roof. And in fact, it's really hard to see. It's been incredibly well situated into its environment. You virtually have to creep up on it to be able to see this thing. One of the best done environmental building structures I've seen just about anywhere. And considering it would have been done in such a real heck of a panic time, it really is something to behold. See if you can find it in its environment. Depending on which route you take, the trails can be easily covered by foot with 1.5 to a 2 hour time frame. Access to the beautiful Williamsons Beach is possible from one of the more newly constructed pedestrian trails at the southwest corner of the reserve, which leads down to the Williamsons Beach car park. We started to go down there but got blown back. And just incidentally, if you are there going down there or coming back, I recommend also that you call in to the Kilcunda General Store and Cafe. That's at 3535 Bass Highway, Kilcunda. It's open from about 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. most days, and what a great variety of interesting and different foods to eat, groceries to buy, and coffees to drink. Really nice little place. Next door to that, of course, is the Kilcunda pub. But if you're considering going in there for lunch, you need to get on to its website. Give it a call because it is closed a couple of days of the week through winter and you could get caught out. On the way back home from Kilcunda, it's worth calling into the Bassine Specialty Cheeses. But again, don't do it now because it's closed until September.
Space Talk, Space Talk,
Mentioned in a previous podcast, asteroid 2012 TC4 hasn't been seen since its last near encounter with Earth 5 years ago. But calculations did show that it would return in October 2017, just a couple of months from now. The house-sized rock has now re-emerged from space and it's barreling towards us. Knowing exactly when TC4 would return makes it perfect for NASA and the ESA for testing the equipment and infrastructure of the International Planetary Defence Network. Previous calculations could only be sure that it would pass within a window of 4,200 to 170,000 miles of Earth, and its size couldn't be precisely pinned down. But spotted on July 27th by ESA astronomers using the Very Large Telescope Observatory in Chile, its brightness at this distance tells us that its diameter is about 15 metres. Based on these observations, the astronomers have determined that TC4 will pass within 31,000 miles of Earth at 5:41 Universal Time on October 12, 2017. We have no commercial alignment with any of the products we discuss on this radio station, but you must be made aware of the big move that Levi Jeans have done. I know how you've loved your 504s since the beginning of time. 504s will no longer be available. Shock horror. They have now become 516 straights. Likewise, the 503s, heaven forbid, have now become 514 straight. Shocking, but exciting. And I know most of you worked out exactly what that was. That's right. That's the sound of the tawny frogmouth. I did mention in an earlier podcast that I'd give you some more information on the tawny frogmouth, which we tend to encounter on one of the walks that we do in a nearby parkland near us. With their nocturnal habit and owl-like appearance, tawny frogmouths are often confused with owls, but they're actually more closely related to the nightjars. Their feet are weak, however, and lack the curved talons of owls. The general plumage of the tawny frogmouth is silver-grey, slightly paler below, streaked and mottled with black and rufous. A second plumage phase also occurs, with birds being russet red. The eye is yellow in both forms and the wide, heavy bill is olive grey to blackish. Southeastern birds are larger than birds from the north. Tawny frogmouths are nocturnal birds. During the day they perch on tree branches, often low down, camouflaged as part of the tree, which is where we see them on our walk. The tawny frogmouth can be seen in almost any habit type, including heath, forest and woodlands, urban and rural areas. Proven by the fact that we do see it on our walk. The bulk of the tawny frogmouth's diet is made up of nocturnal insects, worms, slugs and snails. Should have a few in our garden, would certainly help us here. Small mammals, reptiles, frogs and birds are also eaten. Most food is obtained by pouncing on the ground from a tree or other elevated perch. Some prey items, such as moths, are caught in flight, which has led to many unfortunate instances of birds being hit by cars while chasing insects illuminated in the beams of headlights. The tawny frogmouth is found throughout Australia, including Tasmania. Thanks for being with universalexports.co today. Look forward to hearing your comments and your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.